In the heart of the savannah, where the moon painted the land in silver, the village of Onikara was known for one thing: its drums. These weren't just any drums, they were sacred, carved from ancient trees said to whisper the secrets of their ancestors. Each evening, the villagers would gather around the fire, and the drummers would summon life into the air. The beats told stories of courage, one of danger, and son of love. But one night, the drums fell silent. The silence wasn't ordinary. It was heavy, like the air before a storm. Children clung to their mothers, and even the elders, wise and unshakable, exchanged uneasy glances. Something was wrong. "Why don't we hear them tonight?" whispered Nkem, a boy of 12 whose heart beat with the curiosity of a lion cub. "The drummers, they haven't returned," said his father, voice low, as though afraid of the silence hearing him. The drummers had gone into the forest earlier that day to offer their respect to Agoma, the spirit of the drums. It was a tradition as old as the village itself, performed every year without fail. But this time, they didn't come back. By morning, a search party was formed. Nkem, too young to join, watched them vanish into the forest. The adults carried spears and torches, their faces set like stone. Hours turned into a day. Then too, the search party didn't return. Fear tightened its grip on Onikara. The village elder, Mama Ayayu, called for a meeting under the baobab tree. Her voice, though frail, carried authority. "The forest is restless," she said, her milky eyes scanning the crowd. "The spirit of Agoma has been angered. Someone has disturbed the balance." The villagers murmured. Who would dare? Everyone knew the rules: respect the land, honor the ancestors, and never, ever, touch the sacred drums without permission. That night, as the village huddled in fear, Nkem couldn't sleep. The silence of the drums felt like a weight on his chest. He decided he couldn't wait anymore. With nothing but a small knife and a bundle of courage, Nkem crept into the forest. The trees loomed above him like silent judges, their branches tangled like old stories. Every snap of a twig made his heart race, but he pressed on. Hours later, he found them. The drummers lay in a clearing, alive but unconscious, their faces pale and strained. Around them stood the sacred drums, but something was wrong. One of the drums had a jagged crack running down its side. Nkem's eyes widened. Who would dare harm the sacred drum? A rustling behind him made him freeze. Slowly, he turned to see a figure emerge from the shadows. It was the village hunter, known for his arrogance. In his hand, he held a sharp axe, its edge glinting in the moonlight. "You shouldn't be here, boy," he growled. You broke the drum." Nkem stammered, piecing the truth together. He laughed darkly. "The spirit of Agoma is nothing but a story. I wanted the wood, it's worth a fortune in the trader's market." Nkem felt anger rise in him like fire. "You've cursed the village. The ancestors will not forgive this." As he raised his axe to silence the boy, the forest itself seemed to come alive. The trees groaned, their branches twisting like angry fists. A low, rhythmic sound began to fill the air, the drums. But they weren't being played by human hands. He dropped his axe, his face pale with terror. The sound grew louder, deeper, vibrating through the earth. The cracked drum began to glow faintly, and a towering figure of light and shadow emerged from it. It was Agoma. "You dare defile what is sacred?" Agoma's voice boomed, shaking the very ground. "You have brought imbalance to this land." He fell to his knees, trembling. "Forgive me. I didn't mean." "Silence," thundered Agoma. "Your greed has cost the village its peace. But this boy..." Agoma turned to Nkem, whose legs were shaking but whose gaze held steady. "Your courage has restored hope. You will carry the spirit of the drums back to your people." With a wave of its hand, the drummer stirred awake, and the crack in the sacred drum mended itself. The glow faded, and the forest grew quiet once more. The next morning, Nkem returned to the village with the drummers, carrying the story of what had happened. The drums were brought back to the fire, and their music filled the air again, louder and prouder than ever. As for Is, he was banished, a warning to all who would disrespect the sacred. And Kem. He was no longer seen as just a boy. He had proven that even the smallest among us could carry the weight of a village.